Welcome to Healing Conversations, y'all.
Yes, happy
Brought to
Saturday.
you by, or brought to you at the park,
Brought to you by the West Hollywood Park,
by
Pan
the Pan
Pacific
Pacific
Park.
Park. IG, let the people know that we're here. Hopefully, our reception is
Mm-hmm.
giving what it needs to. But we're more this way. I feel like if we were in the main crowd, it wouldn't be as
Yeah, I feel like
great.
it'll be okay. I'm
But
telling
we'll
people that we're
see.
here. But
So if
while
we
we
see somebody
are,
come on,
yes, but while we're waiting, hello. My name is Angelique. I am a spiritual coach and youth mental wellness advocate. I'm also an artist and an author. My book, Days of Darkness, is dropping November 19th.
it's my
Um,
sister's birthday.
and oh, happy birthday! And yeah, Brother Ray Mel and I have been on this journey together since 2019. And it has been such a blessing for myself and my journey and healing through different things. So when we decided to have this conversation space together, it really was just like a beautiful serendipity. And it has been so wonderful to help it's been so wonderful, and it has helped me
Mm,
to process different things that were going on within me, different ways that I have been triggered, that I am no longer triggered, and just help me to get my story and my experiences processed in a better light, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, this is Healing Conversations where we talk all things healing. And I haven't said this in like a minute or two, but if you feel like you would like to hold a healing space in your neck of the woods, in your zip code, I highly encourage you and invite you to do so. Um, we have been on this journey for some time, but we are not the only people that are capable of holding space for others to be vulnerable and open and expressive. So if that's something that you feel called to,
mm,
by all means, go for it. And yeah, that's my little
mm-hmm.
intro.
Thank you for holding it down while I munch on these dark
Mm-hmm.
chocolate almonds. Okay, because they are hitting the spot. Oh my goodness, I hope our reception is good. We have somebody join in, so hopefully the park is giving what it needs to give as far as reception. But we're just gonna roll the ball. If it is, it is. If it ain't, it ain't meant to be. That's how I live life, and I allow myself just to surrender to what is. But welcome, welcome, y'all. So this week on Healing Conversations, we are gonna go into triggers, and I feel like this is will be a supportive topic to support others and how to navigate through experiences and becoming aware of when you have, and I don't coin this, I learned this term from one of my mentors, Michael A. Singer, is the rocks in your river that a lot of times keeps life from flowing through you and keeps people in a space of repeating the same thing, attracting the same type of people, creating the same experiences. And a lot of times we are unaware that we have rocks in our river, or we don't call them rocks, we call them baggage. Leah, happy Saturday. We call them baggage, and a lot of times we glorify the baggages. We get them in designer baggages so we could say, hey, look at the weight that I'm carrying. And a lot of times we don't work on releasing the baggages. So we just continue to keep ourselves in this reactive state. We continue to keep ourselves in this state of being the victim and feeling as though people, things, and life is against us. So today we just want to unpack that. We want to talk about releasing the rivers out of your the
Rocks.
rivers. Releasing the rocks out of your
That's accurate
river.
though, because you're like releasing the river to flow.
Yeah, so but you're in reality
Releasing
releasing
the
and allowing
rocks.
the river to flow. But what really came through that I suggested that we speak of this is because I had an experience, and I shared on my story, but I'll just do a quick run through of like an experience that I had last weekend. In
Hey,
some,
Nicole.
hey Nicole, I had an experience where someone out in a grocery store, they were being aggressive to a worker, and they were being racist, and they were talking down to them, speaking at them. And now that I think about it, and this is just like joking to myself, like they were calling them like Rosa Parks, and I'm looking like, girl, Rosa Parks
That's a
make
compliment.
movements. That ain't an insult, that's a compliment. But after I
Thank
thought about it,
you.
I'm like, girl, yeah, she was bigging her up, not pulling her down. But
Compliment in disguise.
I'm like, girl, you it reversed and bounced back to you. But they were trying to speak and use race as a way to belittle someone or talk down to someone. And then they brought me into the conversation,
Mm.
and they were talking down to us and at us. And there was some triggers that came through for me. There were some emotions that were flowing through me. And I found that I was feeling the feelings, and I felt the anger, I felt the frustration, I felt the like, okay, but I didn't react.
Mm.
And the reason why I wasn't in a reactive state is because I've done a lot of internal work to release the rocks that allows my river to flow, meaning I can flow into understanding, I can flow into forgiveness, I can flow into love,
Mm.
and not be stuck in trying to prove a point. You're wrong, I'm right. You're this, I'm that. And I was able to in that situation to, I won't lie and say that I went into love and compassion and understanding in that exact moment.
Mm.
But I was able just to look at them. And Sister Angelique, she was like, what did you do
Mm.
when the lady was talking to you? And I said, I just looked at him. I looked at her like, and I just gave her that look of like, I don't even need to speak. I'm just giving you a look like, who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Why is this even happening? And
Mm.
then I turned my back. So I turned my back, which means that they were now talking to a wall. So
Mm.
they weren't getting the reaction. They weren't getting any type of engagement. It was just now there's no type of interaction that we're gonna have with this. But I shared with Sister Angelique before we hopped on, oh, these melt so quick. Oh my god, y'all. Let me
Put them in the shade.
I gotta just eat these because I'm licking my dark chocolate. It's turning into dark pudding.
Dark
It must be
pudding.
pudding in a minute, and ain't nobody got time for that. But
Mm.
I shared with Sister Angelique that I actually was glad that I had that experience because I haven't been in any hostile situations. I mean, I don't just want them to come and just like, oh my God, like send them my way.
Mm.
But I haven't had any in forever. So I always had this curiosity of like, how would I react now
Mm.
or respond when being in a situation like that? Ask and it shall be given.
Mhm.
And y'all just don't understand like the chocolate. Right now we got a little shade. But having that experience, it allowed me to see because on this work of healing, or on this journey of healing, I should say, you never really know how much work you've done in regards to the muscles that have been gained in regards to the internal muscles until you have experiences with family, with friends, significant others, people who are irate or just um, irate.
Mm.
And you never really know like how much you are less reactive, more responsive, how
Mm.
you're able to be calm and not be like in the storm of chaos or drama. So I was grateful I had that experience because I was able to see like, okay, Mel, you're not out here popping off on people because who I am right now is not who I've been 6 years ago,
Mm.
7 years ago, 8 years ago. When I
Right.
acknowledge my growth and I know that I could have reacted in a different manner, but I chose not to because for one, it was too early in the morning. Ain't nobody got time to be mad at no 7 in the morning. Like, chill. We barely waking up. But two, I just don't. It drains a lot of energy when you're in those exchanges of drama, of chaos, of the bickering back and forth. It's too draining energetically. So knowing that I have the choice, do I choose to engage? Do I choose to react? Do I choose to just walk away? Knowing that I have that power, now I utilize that and I say, okay, Ramel, honor what comes up for you. So I honored the frustration, I honored the irritation, I honored the anger, meaning I didn't go, you did it, but I took breaths because in that moment I know I needed to because that energy was passing through. And once I took those breaths, I'm like, this ain't even worth my time, my energy. Let's not even give it life. And I was able to just really have an experience that I can share that I didn't get pulled into, but I was able to absorb. So we want to talk today about triggers, the rocks in the river, ways to work through them, how to support you when they come up for you when you do find yourself triggered, and just share our own experiences. So if you have anything that comes through for you, drop them in the comments. If you want to join the live virtual stage, send a request and we'll put you on because we like to make this a dialogue, not a monologue. But I'll end the plane there so I can eat my dark chocolate pudding because that's what it's about to be in 2 seconds.
Pudding with almonds.
With almonds.
Yes, it's a beautiful conversation. And when I hear Brother Ramel talk about this situation, it reminds me how these practices are an active experience. Like he said, during that encounter, he took his breaths. He had to just turn his back, just go within and not allow the energy that this other person was projecting to come into his river. You feel me? And a lot of times we can think on this healing journey that, oh, I meditated like a couple of times and I'm just a Zen person now. And then something like this happens and we get triggered and we're popping off. Or we swallow our frustration or our anger or our irritation. And you're like, wow, why am I feeling this way? And this self-judgment and this criticism starts pouring in. But what the real lesson is there is that we have these practices and that this is the moment to implement the practices. It's not just when you're sitting in the park and the sun is shining and your skin is glowing and
shout out skin.
Yes.
The glow up is real.
And the trees are just bowing to your divinity. You feel me? Like, it's when we are interacting and engaging with one another. This is when these practices come into play. And a lot of times for myself, I have had that voice of, I should be over this, I should be beyond this, or, why am I getting so irritated? But recently I've come to recognize how much I have evolved and how much compassion I have for myself.
Hey, Sister Vanessa.
Hey. And just how powerful it is to be consistent with the practices just internally. Like, I was gonna say I don't go around asking for things to poke at me, but there is like a subconscious asking because I am a student of life and I do want to, like Ramel was saying, like I do wonder, like, I wonder if I have grown or where I'm at spiritually or internally. And something that happened to me a little while ago, maybe a month or so ago, I had a conversation with a family member and the conversation was draining. And I was able to recognize that I was being drained because the individual did not, from my perception, they weren't very open to what I was offering to them as far as like solutions for like their health or like their well-being. It was just very much like, okay, yeah, sure, you know. It wasn't like, oh, maybe I should think about that, or maybe I should take time for myself. Maybe I should look into these, you know, dietary answers or suggestions and things of that nature for my well-being. And I was able to walk away from that and only be drained during the conversation, because after I hung up, I was just like back to myself, and I was like, oh, I just allowed myself to have this moment, be present with what I was feeling, and then release it. And I also love that you talked about what was it that you said? Um, ooh, it slipped away from my mind. Well, that's okay. But in any case, these practices are so important that it's so important that we just are mindful that these are practices. It's not a one-time thing, because that's when we get into this ego of being like, oh, I'm healed and this is just all that it needs to be and I'm done, because that's not it. Life is a journey. It is a healing journey.
So
Yeah.
Sister Nicole says, what does the inner work look like to get you to the level of unbotheredness? You both definitely gave us some good practices in the face of triggers, but how do you both build up your mental tenacity? I would share for myself, I've done a lot of somatic work. I currently, or have been since
Thank you,
2020,
Nicole.
since 2020, I've been a part of a old client who is a friend. She created a breath channel, and it has different breathing exercises additional to somatic practices. And those have supported me in releasing a lot of the stagnant energy in the body, especially the anger, the frustration, the irritation. Because I felt like it was easier for me to tap into the emotions and feelings of the sadness, of the hurt and the pain. But the anger and those type of feelings, I didn't know how to process, digest, or even feel, because I had this perception that if I got into that space of anger, if I got into that space of irritation, the examples that were given to me, or shown to me, I should say, as a child, it was in altercations. So I always was afraid to express those because I didn't want to be in that space. And rewind, 2017, 2018 was like a dark time for me, and that's where I was in the numbing phase. So I turned up beyond turn up. Okay, I was burnt up because I was just out here like, I was burnt out. Like, y'all, I was over here drinking like crazy. And that when I would drink out, my conscious mind, I was no longer aware of what was going on, and my subconscious became open. So every trigger that I've held from my childhood, when I would be in those intoxicated states, like I used to, like when I would be in that time, so much, like the slightest thing would just activate something within me. And the thing is, I don't remember those encounters because I was in a blacked out state. But the recap of the nights that I had, it seemed like they were telling me about a person that I didn't even know. And when they would tell me about the actions that I took, I was like, you can't be talking about me. There's no way that I can do that. That don't even sound like me. But the truth is what the truth is. And I didn't know, and then that time, like, that was my like fear, is to be that person that I was turning into, to be the one who was fighting, because from what I was told, I was the initiator. Someone, but then now that I think about it, let me just healing conversation, let's speak the truth. Okay, the people that I was around in that time, if I'm being truthful, because this is a real conversation, I think in my sober state, they would irritate me already. And I think that they would like do things to poke at me already. So I think in that intoxicated state, I wasn't as cool in the sense of just being passive. I wasn't just allowing things to be brushed under the rug. And that's when my voice started to get louder because I felt like I could stand in my power. The unfortunate thing is I didn't want to be that powerful being in that way to where I had to prove through physical altercations. But when I think about it, because I don't just start things with people, I know that for a fact about myself. And even in that time before I started the work of healing, I wasn't someone who just started things because I don't like to fight. I don't like those type of interactions. It's draining, it's depleting. And in the time before I started this healing journey, it was uncomfortable because I didn't want to be in this explosive state. So I would just be passive, be passive, be passive, and I took a lot of things. So in those times where I was in that reactive state, I know that it was a reason. Like someone said something and they caught me at the right time and got the wrong type of response because I didn't really want to be in that space. But in that, I share all of this to say that there was a lot built up within me. So to your question, Nicole, the somatic work has supported me a lot in releasing a lot of those. Like I learned about this wall practice. I learned about yelling in the pillow. I learned about socking the pillow. I learned how to, because a lot of times we think that honoring and feeling the emotions is writing it out. That's one form of to become aware of what it is that's circulating in the mind, and in some type of manner you can feel the emotions in your body. But to me, that practice and that tool worked when I was honoring emotions of sadness, of pain, of hurt, because I was able to articulate what I experienced. But with the frustration, the anger, those didn't really get me because I needed some actual like
movement
to let it out.
Yeah.
But I also, I needed that. So the somatic supported me with that. And I also have done like cord cutting practices that like support you with just releasing those emotions. So it's really been a lot of things, but I would say like the breath work, somatic. What happened?
It was like a little thought bubble. It said, what am I? I was trying to read it, and I was like, I'm not even. Continue, sorry.
Somatic, cord cutting. And also too, like having safe spaces to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we feel how we feel, we're afraid to express it because we don't want people to judge us for what we're feeling. Especially if it's something that is not so pleasant towards someone or something. But having that safe space to say, like, hey, right now I'm irritated as shit. Like, and even like, cause I'm not that one who's like, oh my God, I'm sorry for saying this word. Like, it's just a word. It's just a word. I feel like, cause I see people, it's like, oh my God, like, accept me as I am. I don't have me at all. But like, to like,
accept me, I leave me.
I leave me. But like, I feel like a lot of times, having those spaces to talk about it allows you, what's going on is allows you to really feel supported, to feel heard, to feel seen, and to feel loved when you're having those feelings of anger, irritation, and frustration. Because people will run to you when you're in that sadness and the pain. Oh my God, it's okay. Oh my God. Because they feel like you're the victim, so let me console you. But when you come at them like, I am pissed off as shit right now. Like this people looking like, oh, oh my goodness, like, and it overwhelms them. So they don't know how to support you. So when you have safe spaces, you can speak freely, you can be freely, you can allow yourself to be seen freely without judgment, and that supports you with releasing those emotions and getting into the practice so when the experience happens, you good. I know that was a lot, but I hope that answered my portion of the question. What you got?
Yeah, so it's about mental tenacity. Build up your mental tenacity. And I remembered what you had said while you were talking, because you kind of reiterated it. Being drained by the drama. And this kind of ties into the question as well. So I'll kind of put a bow on it. You feel me? I am somebody who has never really been into drama, but I know that there are plenty of people on this planet, in this society, who thrive off of drama, and they look for it and they feel like it gives them a fire, and it feels like that gives them like something interesting with their life. But then in other parts of their life, when they're not in drama, their energy is low. They're feeling like slow or drained or bored, not realizing that the drama is what was draining them or is draining them, so that they don't have energy for just being with themselves, sitting in peace, having a just casual, still moments with their life. And I believe for myself that that has laid a foundation for my mental tenacity, because yes, trauma.
Exactly.
Listen, Leah knows. But I feel like that's something that has supported me with having a foundation of mental tenacity, because I don't get pulled into that energy that feels, it's like caffeine for those of y'all who do caffeine. I'm not really a caffeine girl, but when you get your caffeine and you're all like, ooh, and then, you know, an hour or two or whatever, you're like, okay, I need some more caffeine. That's what drama does.
Or keep you up like a crackhead.
Yeah. Listen, people be running around like, did you hear that? This person, you just can't even sleep, and you're like, oh, to take something or go talk to somebody on the phone for 3 hours at 11 p.m. like
talking their ear off about nothing,
and they're just in there like, can I just go to bed? They're just like, okay, oh yeah, girl, and it was like, yeah, right? But then you wake up and you're tired and you're like, oh, I need some more drama or something else to spark me up, to start my day. Let me look at the news. Let me scroll through social media and see what the people are talking about. And I just feel like if you want to have that tenacity, if you want to have that foundation of groundedness and stability within yourself, when you have these confrontational moments like Raymel, or just like any moment that you may have think of in your own life, it's being aware of that addiction to drama. It's being aware of that addiction to problems or issues or like confrontation. And that is something that a lot of people, again, don't realize is there. And even with myself, even though that's not something that I was necessarily addicted to, it was something, I guess this is a way to say it, I was addicted to avoiding. Like, I would be like, okay, I'm not going to be a part of this, or okay, shut that down. People would come and talk to me about different things that are going on in their life, and they're like, and this so-and-so, and I'm just like shutting down internally and not allowing that energy to flow. I put up a rock, and I'm just like, please, just, can we not? I don't care. Can we? But even though I'm not taking in the drama, I'm still not allowing my energy to flow. I'm still not honoring how I feel, because I don't want to offend this person or make them feel like their expression isn't valid or whatever. And so I just want to put that side to it, because it's important that we are just mindful of our thoughts. And that's really where I'm tying this into, is like, what has really helped me is just capturing, you know, how it says, take every thought captive. Just really being mindful of the thoughts that are going on in my mind, because those are the seeds that create the energy that is flowing through. So when I have noticed and been aware of me capturing a thought, I get so like proud of myself. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking a thing right now that doesn't feel constructive, and I can feel it building up this energy of repulsion. I can feel it building up this energy of resentment or resistance, and I can now transmute that energy because I have the awareness. And it really is a mental like practice. I was gonna say a game, but it's really a practice. And the game comes when you're actually in it with somebody, like when you're actually talking to somebody, running, having to actually, you know, physically move. Like Raymel said, he turned his back. It's like you have to actually be in action with it. But the practice is, I'm just walking around through my day, something kind of came at me, but it wasn't direct. Oh, let me capture this thought. Oh, I noticed I was about to spiral into some drama or some criticism. Let me change that into gratitude. Let me change that into appreciation. Let me just honor whatever is coming through and be like, okay, we can just let that be what it is. And that awareness is a way that I have built my tenacity. And actually, it's something that I have celebrated myself for recently, quite often, because I've been really quick these days. But it was not always that way. You feel me? I definitely would get sucked into spirals of thoughts and ideas just kind of going through my mind and in my energy field, and then be like, why am I feeling this way? And just to kind of wrap this up so we can, pass it to Raymel. But when I was in my early 20s, and even in like high school, when I heard the idea of bipolar disorder, I started to see that within myself. I would feel the manic energy. I would feel the drops in the depression. I would feel literally feel it in my body. And after I had my moment of spirit telling me that my life was greater, that there was more, and I started seeking positivity, I started to go within myself and notice when I was getting triggered into a depression. And I would just hold space for myself and say, okay, I feel this sensation. I feel this diminishment. I feel this shrinking. I feel this dullness kind of building in me. And I'm going to honor it. I'm not going to try to push it away. I'm not going to judge myself for it. I'm just going to, let myself be with it. Like a week or so would pass, and that feeling would kind of be what it is. And then I would start to notice when I was coming out of it. And I would start being excited, and I would start being like active, and, my thoughts would start to pick up. And then I would take those moments to slow down and also be like, okay, I'm noticing that I'm kind of going into this erratic state, with manic state, and just being mindful with that and saying, okay, like calm down, just be aware of the choices you're making and the things you're saying and how you're feeling. And eventually I was able to balance myself out through that awareness, through the not judging myself, through the understanding that I was feeling this in my body and I could release it in my own time. So eventually those depressive states went from weeks to days to hours. And eventually those manic moments just turned into a more like just grounded plateau of I'm here and things are okay now. I'm no longer in this depressive state, but I'm also not like Tasmanian devil, you feel me? So again, just capturing those thoughts is so powerful. And I was never diagnosed with bipolar or anything like that. It was just something that I acknowledged within myself and recognized that there was something going on within me, and took the steps to be aware of what I was experiencing, not judge it, and then process it so that I can release it.
That was so juicy. And so much came through. What I wanted to speak on to kind of like add some extra
And again,
sauce.
if y'all want to hop on.
And if y'all want to hop on, definitely come on. But I wanted to speak to Leah's trauma drama because she holds a beautiful space for trauma drama. But even the fact of trauma is what creates the drama. So I love that she put that, and I love that she's created a platform of that, because when you have a lot of trauma, of course you're going to be in drama. Of course you're going to be in chaos. Of course you're going to be in the mess. And that's just really, it becomes what grows from the trauma is drama. And a lot of people, and we got to be mindful, y'all, we live in a world where there's a lot of trauma that is unhealed. So there's a lot of people that are explosive and reactive. That encounter I had last weekend was an unhealed person who needed to be heard, needed to be seen, and truly needed to be loved, but they didn't know how to express that. So their way is, let me project my hurt, let me project my pain, let me project this build up anger onto you so I can get a response that reminds me of an old childhood experience that I'm used to. So a lot of times we're unaware that this world is full of trauma, and even when we find ourselves aligning with the drama, what comes up for us? Does it feel safe? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel familiar? Does this feel like something that I either want to run away from, like Sister Angelique said, that she will avoid, or that I want to run to and get the inside scoop on? And even when we're in this healing work, a lot of times we try to avoid, but then we wind up finding ourselves being led into some form of drama, because if it's in you, it's going to be seen outside of you. As within, so without. And whatever rocks that we still are holding on to from the trauma that is unhealed, we will see that drama in different scenarios, situations, and people that we connect to. And that's the beauty, is when you start to have that, do the inner work, utilize the tools, do the practices, get the rocks out the river, now you're able to flow and align with people who are not in the space of trauma or drama, who have done their work on their trauma. And the next thing I want to talk about is not being emotionally reactive. Because a lot of times when you don't honor your emotions, when you don't feel your emotions, you explode out of an emotional reactive state. And that's where you're just like, because I've done that, y'all. I've done it. I've acted out of emotions. And when I say, and I want to share it through the perspective of being in that moment, in the experience of when I felt like out of control, your mind goes into red. Kill, kill, kill is what your mind goes into. How can I hurt them? How can I damage them? How can I make them feel what I'm feeling in this moment? It's really when you're in that emotional reactive state, you just go black. Your mind goes blank. And that's how I would be. I had, especially when I was in the blacked out state, I don't even know where my mind was, because I wasn't there. I wasn't present to know what was happening. But when I wasn't in an intoxicated state and I was super triggered and I found myself wanting to explode, exactly the fight or flight instinct, I found myself more in the fight. Because coming from the background that I grew up in, where it was the hood, there was a lot of violence, there was a lot of chaos, I wasn't able to run away. So I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to fight my way through surviving in my household. I had to learn how to fight my way into surviving my environments. I had to learn how to fight my way in even surviving in schools. Because there were so many things that in that time it felt like were against me, from my financial background, my race, my sexual preference. Like, there were so many things that just felt like they were just building up against me, that I just felt like I always had to be in some form of fight. So that fight in me, it stemmed from me not feeling safe in my home environment, me not feeling secure, protected. So I had to find a way to do it for myself. So when we grow into adults, doesn't mean that fight has left. Doesn't mean that the flight has left. It just means now we feel like, well, I'm an adult, so now I can really stand in that fight.
Now I can really
do this. And that's where we see that, when we see the drama, when we see, like, when you think about it, what's the most highest ranked, like, TV shows and things that are tuned in? Reality shows. That has the altercations to fight. People resonate with that. They connect to that. They tune into that because they see themselves in that. And that's why people want to watch it, because it activates those feelings within themselves. It activates the rocks that are in their river. And guess what? You say the wrong thing at the right time, they're ready to pop off on you for nothing. Because that feeling is deactivated, those emotions are flowing, and they need to come out in some form, way, shape, or some
Way,
form
shape,
or
or
way.
form.
Girl,
You got it.
y'all got it. Y'all got it. Okay. But and that's where like the beauty, and just to tie it into back to like the trauma drama, is the more that we start to heal the trauma, the less drama we find ourselves in, and the more we're able to have conversations where we're listening with two ears and we're speaking with one mouth. So if I am listening to you, I don't want to fight you. I don't even need to run away from you. I can hear you and see what you've experienced and what you've been through. Honor what I want to share, and then we can lean into love and compassion. Then we can lean into more understanding, and that's how we're not in the space of wanting to run, wanting to fight, or wanting to be away from uncomfortable situations or conversations. And just to plug, because Sister Leah, five-step healing workshop starts tomorrow. Her 5-step healing process, and then she has a VIP experience where she's going to go more in depth, do a Q&A, answer any questions that may come up for you, because this work of healing, it's not for the faint, meaning there's a lot that may come. So whatever support you may need, the link is in her bio. Leah, if you have a link, post it in the comments, but put your name, or like just put something so we can know, people can know how
like,
to.
"Hit me."
And what I'll do is I'll tag Leah in this live once we're done, just so you can have a reference. And the reason why I'm plugging this, for one, because I love Leah to the moon and back, but two, I've experienced her 5-step healing process live and in person when she had it in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And when I tell y'all, it was one of the most transformative, impactful experiences I've had. Being in the space of others who are in this work of healing and expansion and growth, having the different tools that support you as you gain awareness of how the trauma has affected you, how it's still haunting you, how it keeps still blocking you from expanding into the best version of you. Iteration, girl. I'm like the iteration.
Let it flow.
But it's just such a powerful thing. So I cannot be on this live talking about triggers, talking about trauma, drama, without plugging my girl Leah, because this is for anyone who is on their journey of beginning it, in the middle of it, or you've been in it. The link is right there in the comments, y'all. Save it. It's tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got for
2
you.
p.m. Pacific.
2 p.m. Pacific, yeah.
So I was like, I think you're going. I was like, hold on.
I was trying to get them, but let's
Hold the door.
see. I'm accepting you on, Sister Nicole.
Yes, but I just want to tap on this fight or flight real quick, because I was more in the flight because as a young person, I was very heavy into the fight, and that got shut down. And, you know, that's not to say it was a bad thing, but it taught me that if the desire to fight rose up in me, that I had to just run away, because I can't get into a fight. And it wasn't because, again, not because I didn't want to, not because that energy wasn't in me, not because it wasn't in my environment. It was because I had been conditioned to suppress that. And why that is also problematic, I'll just use that word, is because it doesn't allow for the authentic acceptance of what a person is feeling. Hello, Alexa. It doesn't allow for the authentic acceptance of what a person is experiencing. And there was a long time in my life where I would just like shove my anger inside. I would shove my sadness inside. Anything that made me feel like I wanted to project or put out onto people, I would just swallow it down, because I had been conditioned in this way. to not acknowledge those feelings or even allow them to be heard or like just accepted. Just be like, oh, I'm feeling this thing. Like, no, just shut it down. And when you grow up in an environment where the fighting and the arguments are like very prevalent, it builds an idea that animosity that builds a feeling. It built a feeling in my body that the world wasn't safe and I couldn't really be anywhere or be around anybody and feel like I was safe, you know? And so I just really wanted to tap on that because that also
Love you too, Sandra.
That also creates.
I'll put the link in the comments too.
But yes.
Once we finish the live, I'll put it in the comments once I post it.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if the links work on Instagram when you do stuff like that.
Oh shit.
You have to just go to her bio and click it.
Okay, I'll send it to you in your DM.
And honestly, listen, Instagram, figure that out because people be wanting to connect, and I think that would be a really great feature. But in any case, we tried to invite you on, Nicole.
I don't know if you can still come on.
Or are you here and we just can't see you?
She is on the live. Oh no, she's not on the live.
Go live, yeah.
Because I was, you know the thing, last time she was on my live yesterday and we were talking about something real, and then all I seen was her face like, and it was stuck there.
I know you in the bed, but you did not have to come on here looking wild.
Girl, we family. This Healing Conversations, come as you are. It's how we...
Y'all stressing me out. I've been pulling out my hair.
She's like, I gotta get this.
What's coming up for you?
Yes, tell us. Yeah.
Let me say this. Okay. As someone who's done a lot of inner working but have dealt with a lot of trauma, for those who have been in this space, I guess I should be more authentic. Well, I should be more transparent for those who may be new. I dealt with a mother who had substance abuse problems from before I was born. So I was technically born a crack baby. And then also I was raised in a single parent household, which I had a lot of love from my father. So I'm very grateful for that. I didn't really feel a void or any kind of neglect or abandonment until he died at the age of 10 unexpectedly when a tidal wave came over his head. My whole world got, kind of turned upside down, and I had to move an hour away from home, create new friendships, no longer have my childhood friends in a totally new household. Thank God I still was connected to my brother. I had a sibling who is my heart and soul. So I wouldn't really know who I was if I didn't experience my trauma. I definitely believed it built me. It brought a level of resilience, and it definitely pushed me into the career path that I'm in, which is transformation coaching. So my life story is surrounded by my trauma, but I also know as somebody who is considered to be an expert or somebody who has done a lot of work but is aware of herself as well, to realize that everything is not completely healed and everything's not all the way patched up. Sometimes you carry some guilt or shame in that department when you do think you're all good and you're good to go and you could teach, and then something shows you that there's more work to be done. How do you continue to give yourself grace and compassion throughout that process as being somebody considered to be an expert when those triggers or more healing work needs to still be done?
Amazing question, and thank you for being so open, vulnerable, and transparent.
Appreciate your transparency.
What's coming through for me is inner child. Because that compassion and grace goes to that younger version of ourselves that didn't receive that when we were young. So we have to be mindful as children. When we were young, we had a lot that we endured and that we held on to and that we weren't able to speak upon, and we weren't, for me, I wasn't able to really feel. Because when I was in that place of sadness, I was told to stop crying. When I was in that place of anger, I was told to let me give you something to cry about or be mad about. So like Sister Angelique, I held it in. Because I was like, well, I don't want to get another whooping. I'm tired of getting my ass whooped. So let me just act like I'm good. And then I would go if I'm being truthful, with my friends and talk shit about my mom and everybody adult in the house, you getting, I'm talking, I knew cuss words then, you bitch, mother, like everything, because I had innocence, and I didn't realize as a child, a lot of my childhood friends, we were really trauma bonding, but I didn't even know that was the thing in the time, because they had dysfunction in their house, they had dysfunction in their house, so the dysfunction really drew us closer and brought us together, and we can relate, because one of my friends, her mother and my mother were similar in their own unique way, so that connected us, because we can vent to each other about our mothers and what they were doing and weren't doing. So there was a lot that I was afraid to express, to feel, and I judged myself about. So as an adult, when I find myself thinking I've made it to the top and realize I'm not even close to there, I'm still at the bottom, barely making it to the middle of the mountain, I hold space and grace for Little Red Mel.
Yeah.
Because he is the one who has got me to where I am now. Like you shared, with those experiences, we wouldn't be who we are and on the path that we're on and serving in the way that we do if we didn't have those. But I open him up more because he was never able to express it. So even when I say that word, I feel the tears balling up for me because, oh, I got you, I got you. But there was a lot that he had to just pretend like he was okay with, that he experienced, and he wasn't okay. And the fact that he wasn't okay, how he supported himself was making sure everyone else was okay. So every friend he had, he made sure they had a smile, that they were laughing, and that they were taken care of in that emotional state. But he didn't have nobody to do that for him, because my oldest sibling, she was the one who wanted me, because she was the girl and I was the boy, and I was supposed to be rough. So she was the one who wanted me to harden up because I was too soft. You too soft, B, you need to man up. And so I didn't have a space to express or even have anybody ever check in on me. So I was just sad all the time. I was sad, like, why do you have to experience this? Why nobody care about you? Why nobody love you? When my mother chose her husband over me at 14, nobody's there to protect you. So there was so much sadness that I hoarded within myself. So when I find myself thinking that I've reached the destination and realize that I'm barely at the beginning of this journey, I let Little Ray Mel know it's okay to be where you are. That you don't need to be anywhere further.
But so deep. I said that is so simplistic, but so deep.
Cause it's,
and I do also appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing Little Ray Mel with us.
Thank you.
I do.
No, and the thing is, it was not until I really deep dove into this healing work that I knew that inner child was even a thing. It wasn't until I had my highest investment as like getting a life coach that she started to do inner child. And I'm like, girl, inner child, I'm a grown ass adult. What you talking about?
I'm grown.
That was the mindset in the time of it. Cause I'm like, hey, Sister Angelique, that was just like that. I'm like, inner child, girl. Like, I'm grown, because even as adults, when we try to reference to our childhood in certain what they tell you ain't happening no more. That's done. Why are you still dwelling on that? Why are you still harping on that? Like, let it go. But not a lot of people realize that it's easier said than done, because you can't let go of those emotions when you still are not feeling them.
When you're avoiding it.
When you're not feeling. So that's where, like, it was hard to let something go that I was never able to even talk about.
Right.
So that's where, like, that inner child has been like the biggest piece to the puzzle that has helped connect everything for me to where I can see life through a different lens and not see it through the lens of the hurt Little Ray Mel, but let the hurt Little Ray Mel know that he has a big brother that loves him, aka me, that will protect him, that will be there for him, that will always listen to him. So that's where, like, when he falls, I don't say, get up, stupid. What the hell are you doing? I say, I got you. Here's a hand. I got you. Take your time. And even saying that, I feel peace within me.
Look, you put a smile on my face by it as soon as you said it. So I'm like, I feel that energy coming through this lens right now. And I definitely can see how in some ways that I have done that, and I can lean more into that myself. You know, even being the type of person that I am, somebody who is kind of emotionally in tune. And see, as Sister Angelina talked about, it's like being aware. definitely more, more aware than ever in the season of my next enlightenment phase. But being honest with myself is very important when you're going through this journey as well. And coming into beautiful environments like this, or Leah, you will be hearing from me, girl. I hope you jump on this so I can ask you some questions. But allowing myself to realize that there is help that you can seek out, or safe spaces that you can come to truly allow that inner Nicole, that little child, to come out and be like, even though I have my own hand to continue to lift myself up, I also have other people that will be here along the journey as well. So I'm grateful for you both. And Lee, I'm gonna be grateful for you too. I don't even know what you do yet, but if Ray Mel preach about you, I'm coming, girl.
Yes, she is the bomb.com.
Yes, Leah is a beautiful light in this world. So grateful for her. But I'll say for me, it's about recognizing, and this is something that I had learned going through Ignite, like it really got embodied into my beingness, is recognizing that we are on a journey, and everything that I learn is something that I can use to support somebody else. So as I am going through and I am in this certain stage of my unfoldment, and I feel like I have reached a certain state of inner stability and groundedness and peace, when something does happen, again, like we were talking about, being present, honoring what you're feeling, and then recognizing the grace comes when I recognize, oh, I have tools to manage this, and what I'm experiencing right now, I'm not alone in experiencing. Somebody else has gone through this frustration, this irritation, this just moment of disconnect from their higher beingness, right? And I can say, okay, this is for a purpose. I can put intention behind it. You feel me? And that's something that really supports me. I love the inner child thing, and I do that, but just to add that extra layer, just being present, because like you're talking about, you see yourself as a leader in the space, you see yourself as a teacher, as a guide, to help other people. So understanding that everything that we experience as we've taken on this calling of being a light worker, of being a lighthouse, a light guide, right? All the experiences are a part of that building our practice to support other people. And that's how I allow myself to have grace, to say, okay, this is something I can learn to share with other people. And because there are other people who are, again, going through this, who don't have the tools, who haven't been in this practice, but now I'm getting to learn, like, oh, okay, my practices of doing my inner child work, doing my breath work, doing my somatic healing, it applies to this situation too. And so just giving myself grace to know that it's okay. I'm having a human experience, it's just a part of it. And it's a part of the school, the university of life, and me becoming a leader, teacher, guide in this space. So yeah.
And you know what I want to share real quick, Sister Nicole, just real quick, is that even the fact that we are leaders and that we are supporting others does not mean that we have to be perfect. And I feel like that's where a lot of times we think that because people see us as those who are supporting them, that we got to have it all figured out. And that we're always just going to be in this positive kumbaya, all is well type of way of thinking and being. And that is so far from the truth, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but we are still having this human experience. And as human beings, we feel, we fall, we don't know what we don't know. And even when we know, we fall. And we don't know how to get up sometimes. And that's where it's just knowing that doesn't make us any less of a leader, any less of a teacher, any less of a guider. But it just shows that we are human like the next, and who we're meant to serve, but we'll honor that humanness in us, because they know that we are still in practice. And we still are learning through every experience. So I just wanted to share that, because a lot of times leaders think, well, because I'm here, I can't get here because then people won't think that I'm able to lead them. No, that doesn't mean that you're still not elevated. It just means that you're educating yourself through this experience of falling. Oh, I thought I knew how to get up. I thought I was stable, but now I have to learn how to really hold my posture to really ground myself. So everything is teaching us, but it doesn't make us any less than because we may fall short and have those moments where we doubt ourselves, that we react in a certain way or whatever may come through. But it's just, it doesn't, for me, it makes me even more of a better leader because I'm leading by example and being authentic in my expression of like, y'all, this is where I'm at. This is what we doing. What's going on?
Yeah, we fall down, but we get up. Okay.
Okay.
We get
But no, but I will say that what draws people to me is just how transparent I am, how honest I am along that journey. And like you said, even being a leader, a lot of times people, we see so much fake teaching or fake practices or a level of perfectionism that is displayed to the world. Look at the world of social media. Everybody has to be, most people, let me not say everybody, but most people have to be completely perfect on this platform. But I'm not afraid of showing my wounds because I know how much power lies within them. And I'm not afraid to admit where I'm at on the journey because then that gives not only me optimism, like how you heard my wording, I said I'm going to another level of awakening. And as you said, just because I'm at this journey does not mean that I'm not elevated. And I accept that, for sure. And some of these questions are just thought-provoking questions. Some of them are stuff that I truly need to have understanding of. I think that as we continue to come into this space and stretch the conversations, it allows other people to look internally within themselves to truly think about how they're treating themselves. Are they giving themselves that grace? Are they practicing, what are the practices that we can begin doing to prepare ourselves for those triggers and traumas, and how can we handle them when they're in the face or we're in confrontation with those things. So I'm so very grateful. I always go back to this.
I want to ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you a question. Share your gem, share your knowledge. So what tools do you use when you find yourself being triggered by just experiences? Like, what is your go-to tools that support you?
My number one thing, starting off, is pause. Because I realized that in the moment, you have a lot of things that come up. But first, I have to realize what that is, that a level of awareness, to be able to then navigate how I'm going to move. A lot of times, people don't even think that sometimes it's okay not to react right away. Just be present and stop and be still. And then you'll be able to have not this clouded mindset to be able to navigate the next move. So one, keep the danger away, or allow yourself to, if in some spaces, ignore the confrontation, or respectfully address them, because sometimes that's needed in spaces as well. I honor what is coming up. I honestly always allow myself to feel what I feel, objectively think on how the best way to agreeing to disagree, or actually saying you're wrong. I mean, not saying it like that, but you know what I'm saying, like confronting it head on, but respectfully as well, whatever it may be. So I just think that first step is so very important, being still and recognizing what threats are at your face before you face them or release them. So I know that may seem like a very minute step, but I think that is the biggest one that I honor, because it allows for me to navigate in the most constructive way, in the most sound and grounded way as possible. So
yes, something that's coming up for me as you're sharing that is, and also with Sumi's comment, I practice slow breathing for a few seconds.
Hey Sumi.
Hey girl.
Yeah, real quick, y'all. This sign is just like, can we just take a moment to just give the people?
Y'all heard that was the first thing I said.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
because I look oily and y'all look like y'all glowing. Okay, it's a difference.
We're all radiant.
We all radiant
from within. Yes.
It's that light. It's that light just shining off of you.
It
Yes.
is.
From within you.
Yes, it's matching.
It definitely
As
is.
within, so without.
I'm looking like, okay, Sister Angelique. I'm looking like, okay, Skin. And I'm looking like, wait a minute. Oh, because I can't really see me. I can see you more than I can see myself.
Mm.
Because of just how this lighting is. I mean, but back
Trust
to the
that you're
conversation.
also glowing. Yes. Yes.
You know.
Simultaneous
Your
glowingness.
regimen.
Mm. But yeah, I appreciate the lightheartedness, because something kind of heavy was coming up for me as far as a remembrance within me of when I was younger, I got like called out for breathing.
Mm.
You feel me? And I feel like I may have touched on this, but it's coming up right now, so I want to express it. But like the idea of like taking a slow breath, like in front of somebody, you know, like an elder or somebody, it was seen as like having an attitude.
Mm.
And so it would, you know, just me breathing would trigger them. And they'd be like, who you getting upset with? You need to calm down. Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now, but you're not letting it work. You feel me? And so I even learned to swallow my breath and like hold my breath. And so when I hear like Raymel say like he took a breath in front of this lady, a part of me was like, that's a very bold move. A part of me was like, wow, that's so powerful. Like, you're able to express that you were, because I wasn't even like allowed again just to have emotions at all or try to process them in any way, shape, or form. So taking a breath while I'm in the midst of a confrontation or an irritation, like, that just feels so radical to me. And
Right.
it is so simple, right? It is so simple. And I'm just recognizing in my own mind, like in this moment, healing conversations, right? That's something that I can implement now, even though I'm trying to figure out, I haven't really had any moments, and you know, I'm not asking for it, but it'll probably come anyway. But just having the bravery to take a breath in a triggering moment and not feel like somebody's energy about me breathing is going to come onto me. You feel me? Or like how I'm processing what I'm experiencing is a problem. You feel me? So yeah, that was coming up for me. And
I want to ask you
yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Because being that you weren't able, like, that was something that you had to suppress because it was interpreted as you having an attitude of being disrespectful. If you are in a triggering moment and you do have that moment of breath and it is a reaction that you, and similar to what you experienced as a child, how do you think that made? Because that, you know, still people still take breathing as disrespect. So that came up to me. It's like, because that would be a bold and courageous thing to do, but say if you do that bold and courageous thing and get the same reaction that you got as a child, how do you think that would be for you?
I feel now that I am aware that everybody's having their own experience and what another person is perceiving of me, processing, doing my own experience has nothing to do with me. I think it would probably be like and this is just hyperbolic, right? Because I'm now aware that I can take a breath in a moment, and if I sense them or see them getting irritated or like getting an attitude or feeling like I'm a certain type of way, just again taking that moment to capture my thought and be like, they're having their own experience. I get to process my energy in this moment. I get to honor myself in this moment, regardless of however they're trying to feel about it, because I'm not doing anything intentionally disrespectful to them. I'm not trying to project any hurt or pain or frustration or trying to make them feel a certain way or feel how I'm feeling, right? I'm noticing that an energy wants to move through my body. And I've learned from this safe space and my wonderful friends who are on this journey that taking a breath in this moment is acceptable. And that's what's something I just want to tap onto before we kind of step forward. Having community on my journey, and this is the stuff that makes me emotional, having community on my journey has been so profound, because I really felt like Raymel kind of said earlier, I just felt like alone, and like I didn't have anybody to really support me in my expression or teach me how to express or how to process things. And just being able, like, if you would have told me if you would have told me when I was in like high school and my year and a half of college that I would be able to discuss some of the things that I have discussed here with you all out loud on the internet for everybody to see for forever, I'd have been like, I don't know about that. But there is something so emboldening about having a tribe with you, and coming from a large family that I felt very disconnected from. The idea of having people who actually support your authenticity and your vulnerability was like unimaginable. Like I felt like if I can't feel held and seen and respected in my authenticity and my vulnerability with these people who are my blood, it ain't nowhere. You feel me? But I've just come across, you know, through Lisa's community, and honestly, I'm trying to figure out where Leah even came from, y'all. I think it was
Clubhouse.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was Clubhouse,
I think,
but I'm trying to see like
Stacey.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't know who like was the person that found her, and we were all just kind of intermingling. But just all these different spaces and all these different people, even like Val and the rest of them. Carrie, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we respect, you know, Carrie again. She meets all different types of people. Dr. Sue is on like more of her side of things also. But just all of these beautiful people who are, you know, don't know me from a Mary Jane, you feel me, are willing to hold this space for me and let me be just vulnerable in myself and authentic and process without judgment. It really does just make my heart swell, you know. And I'll tap it there before I get
Let it out.
But yeah, it's a powerful thing having community. Yes. So
I said, yeah, I'm new to the family, so I'm glad y'all continue to expand.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing is because even like Sumi is a family member that we met through social media on Healing Conversation. Her, our other sister Angelique, Sandra, Helen, like all of these beautiful souls and that's the beautiful thing is when you're in that energy of healing, expansion, and growth, you're always going to attract your tribe. And how you know it's your tribe, because it feels like you've known them all your life and you've only had a short window of experiencing each other. And that just shows the longevity of what that will be. And I love it too, because even you don't have to speak every day. You don't even have to speak on a fluent basis, but the foundation of love is what really grounds you into knowing that these are your people. And that's where my old abandonment issues would trigger me. We're talking about triggers, and triggers come in so many different variations, but my old trigger would be abandonment. So I would attach and I would cling, and I'm like, oh, we're friends, so we got to be locked in and sealed in,
Talk to me
and I would
every
just
day.
suffocate the friendship
Mm.
because I didn't want you to abandon me. I didn't want you to leave me. If you took some time from messaging me or reaching out to me, I would think, oh, well, we're not friends no more. Oh, I guess we're not that cool. And every story that would come up in my mind, I would just be lost in. But now I've realized when you're in healthy communities and you're building healthy relationships, the love is the foundation of what allows them to grow. And it's not conditional, meaning if I talk to you, then I love you. If I see you, then I love you. If we're exchanging every day, then I love you. Versus I love you regardless. And that's where I had to learn how to receive that unconditional love because I was used to the conditions of if you did then, if you are then. And that's where I had to release that even from myself because I was a conditional lover if I'm calling myself out. I would love you if you did all of the things on the list to check them off, but if you didn't, oh, I don't love you, I can't love you. You don't love me. So I had to really go deep within my soul to realize that love doesn't have a physical thing that you can attach it to. Love is just an energy that you stay grounded in, and that's what you bring into whatever encounter or situation that you are in. So that's really where I just that beautiful thing, and that's why, yes, Sister Nicole, I call anyone. And when I say, you notice, I call you that, and that is how I show up in that space. When we met at Speaking Right, what did I tell you? Who you meeting today is who I'm always gonna be.
Right here, every step of the way.
And what you see is what you get.
My energy, and that is what I got for sure. So, like you said, like energy will always attract like energy. Divinity will always take its course. Look, you see my excitement level for Leah, and I even clicked on her profile picture to even see what she looks like. I'm like, girl, I'm coming. Hello, you said tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow is 6 p.m. your time because you Eastern Standard, so it's 6 p.m. your time.
I'm off of work.
So boom, boom, boom. But it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, I'm excited though. And I know I'm about to double back a little bit. Actually, I'm about to hit on two things that you both hit. Sister Angelina, when you started talking about that breathing, subconsciously, I guess I've always recognized that was something, I didn't recognize that was something that was not acceptable in my household. But as soon as you said it, I can recall an incident that just happened 2 days ago on the phone with my grandma and my mother. Now, mind you, they utilize me as a mediator because their relationship they like oil and water, they just don't mix. So they need a little mediator in between, so I'm the three-way call to connect them, and that's really how they interact. Gratefully, I've gotten them to a space, or with me being the light worker that I am and showing up authentically as myself, it cultivated a desire in my mom's heart to take heed to my grandma, even though they don't have the best relationship, but she knows that she's getting older, so she doesn't want to have regrets. Can't say it's coming from the best space. It's not necessarily out of love. It's out of a requirement in her mind, but baby steps, right? I accept her for her journey, and I'm glad that what I do organically out of love, she's now taking heed to. So in certain instances, she wants me to come over there when I'm in the city, or like, for instance, when they had a phone call, my mom is having surgery next week. And of course, even though we may not know how to express love, well, not us, but my family may not be the best at expressing love. Love is the root of us. So of course my grandma wants to be there for her throughout the process, and as she is a nurse, she has a lot of great insight that she can give her for helping her, weed her anxiety, give her more information and content. But because of their brokenness within their relationship, it's not easy to navigate that space, though they know they need each other in this moment. So I act as that bridge, you know what I'm saying? So throughout that process, they still oil and water, remember, go at it, but they're there and present because the love is rooted so deep that they're not willing to walk away, even though the tension is so strong. You know what I'm saying? So in that moment, I just literally had to, I was on the phone with them for about an hour 2 days ago, and I had to breathe in deeply and just exhale, because I was navigating it like, hey, we don't need to lean into that. Hey, all right, let's get back to the, the topic. The details really don't matter. Like just trying to keep them on path to really get into the root of what they need to have understanding of, whether she's coming into town, how her rehabilitation will go, how she'll be getting to her treatments until I can get there, or whatever the case may be. But the point of the matter is we're trying to figure out how she's going to navigate the space as she lives in Ohio, and my grandma and I live in Atlanta. So the closest person to her is about 3 hours away. I know this is overwhelming, but I'm wrapping it up. Let's put a nice little bow on this. So the point of the matter is, in that moment when I took that deep breath, my mom was triggered. And she was like, who over there making all that noise, trying to project it on my grandma, thinking it was her. But in reality, I was just trying to like keep myself nice and grounded so I could continue to navigate this space and weave it in the direction in which it needs to go. And I just told her, oh, that was me, my bad. And then she was like, well, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, everything's good. I didn't feed into it. Obviously, clearly there was some emotions arising in me. I was getting a little flustered, a little agitated, about ready to exercise less. Can we get to the final details so we can, go and I can get back on my little wavelength? But for real, but I had to realize and recognize that when you said that, Angelina, I was like, yeah, that is real. Breathing does trigger people. And I just had that experience in my own conversation with my grandma and my mother. So I guess that's a real life example of how I navigated. You asked her that question earlier. How would you navigate if that happens and arise? I acknowledged that it was me. I took ownership. I obviously did not feed into it. Ain't nothing wrong. Because ain't nothing wrong. I just and working through what I felt in that moment. So I didn't feed into it, and it didn't go any further than that, which was great in that conversation. So that's an example of how that could possibly be navigated if you are in that situation. And I just experienced that myself. So
thank you for that. Thank you for that, because I feel like it's different for all, but it's having different ways for people to see. Like for Sister Angelique, it is let me breathe, but also know that if you have a reaction, it ain't got nothing to do with me. Your perception is your perception. I'm honoring my release that I need to do. I love that you share your way of when it was received in a way of disrespect, that you were able to not be stuck in how they were trying to project out, and you were just like, we good, everything good, carry on. Carry on, because that unbotheredness didn't draw you in or pull you in, but it allowed them to see like, okay, let me keep on. Because normally when people are in that space of fight, they're just looking for the littlest thing to give them a reason to explode even more than what they already are. So when you don't give them that, it's kind of like the dog that's looking for something. It's like, oh, ain't nothing over here? Let me go on. And that's literally how it is, because they're looking for something to nibble on, to bite on, to chew on. And if they ain't got nothing, they're going to go to the next person. And that's the beauty of what it is in regards to this healing work. Because the triggers, I feel like we're always going to be triggered in some way, shape, or form. It's just how we allow the universe's gift to us is how to release the emotions is through the triggers. But when we see the growth, it's when we're like, but I ain't triggered by you. Meaning you're triggered by me, an emotion activated within me, but I'm not going to give it to you in regards to my power. Because my power is given away when now I'm in that reactive state. But when I'm grounded in love, grounded in peace, it's kind of like when you're trying to instead of it being a trigger, now someone is just trying to tickle you. So it goes from a tickle like, girl, get out of here, go, what you doing, move. And that is and that's where now they're like, oh, I can't get to you. So now we become untouchable by certain people and things, because that trigger, you see that it doesn't, you might as well say you got a water gun and you trying to splash me with it. But it's not going to do anything because it doesn't hold that power. So I love this conversation. I knew it was going to be a lot that came through. I knew that my share was going to spread into other shares that will just support this conversation. But just to share my final words, and we'll do a round robin because we're going to close it out in a minute. But y'all, life is gonna people are gonna people. We can't control anything outside of ourselves, but what we do have control over, and the only thing we will ever have control over, is what we're thinking and how we're feeling. And being in that practice of honoring your feelings, it's really what allows you to know how to navigate through those uncomfortable situations, conversations, and activations that will happen when you are triggered by being out in the world, driving a car, down the street, at the store, talking to families, talking to friends, whatever that may be for you. The activation of feelings, they're just meant to flow through. They're meant to pass through. They're not meant to be held, to be avoided. And when we allow ourselves just to honor, and I want to say the anger, the frustration, because I feel like we run away from that because we're afraid of the altercations that it may bring up. But it's not an altercation if you're not engaging with whatever that party or thing is. But it's a evacuation of emotions when they're able to leave you. Because once those emotions leave you, there's less rocks in the river and less triggers that will be felt by you, and you're able to be in peace, joy, and happiness. We're not always going to be in that state, but that is how we're able to go down and back up to our natural state, which are those things. So I'll end it there. Y'all share your final words, whatever's coming through.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Well, I would say my big nugget here, which I have to take heed to for myself, is give yourself grace. We are all spiritual beings living a human experience, so honor that space, and don't stunt your growth along the journey as well. Recognize where you're at, continue to expand and evolve, continue to find community spaces that you feel safe in, and hone in on who you are in this season. But there is greatness to be had, is greatness to be lived in now, and it's a phenomenal path that led you to this place right now. So give yourself grace.
Okay, phenomenal past.
Yes. And what you got? Wait, hold on. I want to bring Leah up real quick.
Yes.
I feel like she got something that I don't even know. I even know, Leah, if you can. I feel like you got something that you just want to drop and leave, and I want to honor that. Sometimes it's like, look at that request. Look at that. I could not end it without seeing who the request is by.
I've been asking for Leah all day. I need to meet Leah.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she goes.
Am I on?
Yes,
you are, Leah.
Oh my gosh, I was like, I don't want to go on. We just came from Levi's birthday party, and I was like, I'm just gonna listen. And then I'm sitting out here, and it comes up on my phone. It's like, request to be in this live video. And I'm like, no, cancel. I didn't mean to hit that, cancel. And it won't go off my screen. And I'm like,
okay.
So I exit out of the app and I go into my photos and I'm like, let me go back in and see if it's off. It's still on the screen. And then everybody's talking and I want to do my hearts, but I can't because it says request to be in this live video. And then it comes up and it says, Raymel has sent you a request to be in. I'm like, okay, universe, I guess you want me to be on this live video right now. Here. But it's been a wonderful conversation, and I don't know if I have any.
Oh, did we freeze?
Did it freeze?
Right.
Did it freeze? What's going? Okay, there's Nicole. There's Leah.
I think it might be.
I'm still here.
Oh, she froze up.
Okay, well, if Miss Leah don't come back, you guys, Leah has a childhood trauma program that starts tomorrow at 6
5-step
p.m.
healing.
We'll be a part of. So it is a space to continue to expand and grow. I don't think that's what she would have came to give us insight on, but since I don't know Miss Leah that well, I can't give you too much about that or her. So if you're wanting to dig deep into your childhood traumas, come on and join us. This is going to be my first time taking a course of such, but I am excited and eager to continue my journey of expansion. So,
yes.
Wait, hold on. We got another. We're going to see real quick.
We'll see what happens.
You coming back?
We're about to see. We at the party today. We ain't got no. I mean, I got to be out of here by 5:30.
Your batteries got to hang in there.
But we don't have, nobody saying. Because in the library, when it's that time to go, they like, all right, there'll be somebody who's about to come in, and we want to respect them. We don't want to be over here the library hoggers.
Library hoggers.
We didn't want to trigger nobody else by us trying to be over here acting like we own the library, but we at the park today. We outside. We outside.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on, but what you wanna last?
Last things that I want to share as far as this conversation and triggers. What was really coming up for me is taking that moment to go within and being present. Like, I feel like that was a theme that really was coming up. Just being present with yourself and recognizing that this external experience doesn't have to become a rock in your river. You can take that breath. You can take a moment to pause. And you can, turn your back. You feel me? Like, honor yourself in the moments that you're triggered and not feel like you have to have the solution or the answer or the best comeback and, defend yourself and fight, whether it be like physically or verbally. Just really taking that moment to be present with yourself and process the energy that is moving. That's really what has been resonating with me today.
I love that. And I just want to say thank everyone for joining in, whether you stayed the whole time, you came in real quick, left out, came back, left out, came back, because we was here for a minute. And I just y'all, let's just continue. As we heal individually, we support the collective healing. It becomes that ripple, and that's how we're adding contribution to the world. We're not here to save anyone. We're just here to remind everyone that you are a powerful being. The power is inside of you, never outside of you. So I love you all. I thank you all. Thank you, Sister Nicole, for sharing your light and your wisdom. Let's see our hearts. Do these hearts work? Do these hearts work? Did yours working over there? No. Okay. Look at binoculars. We over here binoculars. All right, y'all. We love y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you to whoever has been tuning in on YouTube. Have a beautiful day.
I know who's that. Is that somebody today?
I don't know, but somebody's there. We'll see y'all around. Thank you for tuning in.